SpaceX has become famous throughout the years due to its amazing achievements and milestones. The company's vision has become a beacon for the future generations of humanity. I mean, who doesn't want to travel to space? Aren't you curious about what's happening inside their headquarters? This is Marketfly, and today I'll be showing you around the SpaceX headquarters. But before we begin, make sure you're subscribed to our channel so you won't miss a single upload. Click that notification bell to be the first one to watch new uploads about awesome gadgets and tech headquarter tours. That being said, let's jump right in. The company has continued to awe fans as it progresses through its different ventures. It was started with a private venture by a man with a big dream, and now the company is the partner of the US when it comes to space ventures. To add, it's also the company if you need reusable rockets, an innovation that was thought to be impossible. Furthermore, SpaceX is the first company to dock at the International Space Station and also the first one to send a liquid rocket fuel into orbit. It seems like they have achieved most of firsts on the space venture lists. But that's what makes the company special. It keeps developing, and development translates to not just international but interspace progress. A satellite now orbits Mars in preparation for the SpaceX venture to colonize it. And although some believe that it's still a faraway future, it makes you curious how Elon Musk comes up with these things, and most importantly, what's going on inside their headquarters. The SpaceX headquarters is an impressive site wherein innovators, engineers, and rocket fuel developers and more come together to create the next venture. It's not just Elon Musk that makes these things all by himself. He has a team, and that team needs somewhere they could properly work in. The headquarters is where people can collaborate and would sometimes even crash. And I'm not talking about the rocket tests. I'm talking about Elon Musk himself. Yes, Musk has been reported to sleep on the floor of his own factory. The tech god is known to have divided most of his time between Tesla and SpaceX. And you may think there must be a lot of pressure when you're trying to build a colony on Mars, but most say that Musk is just a workaholic. Before we continue, have you ever seen the SpaceX headquarters before? Maybe you went on a tour on SpaceX. Did you know about its Ad Astra Academy? Share with us in the comments down below about your experiences with the company. Moving on, SpaceX was founded way back in 2002. Yes, it started about 2 decades ago. The competitors were always on the lookout for what the SpaceX could offer, and they have attempted to top that. However, SpaceX also embraces sustainability, one thing that is unique about the said company. It reduces costs and finds a way to reuse the rocket ships. By the year 2017, SpaceX relaunched its rocket Falcon 9 with a satellite on board. It also arrived back on Earth's soil successfully, proving the sustainable promise of SpaceX. You see, you can't just promise sustainability without backing up your word. Some rockets contain human passenger, and it goes the same with the future venture in Mars. The risk is just too high, and Elon Musk makes sure we have that safety net. Another milestone is making the Dragon capsule reusable. This launched the Tesla Roadster into space, which has been stable up there for almost 4 years. Additionally, SpaceX launched its first ever astronaut in the Dragon capsule. This would test if human subjects would be spaced while riding the pod. This docked at the International Space Station on the 1st of May 2020. The astronauts were safely transported and returned back to Earth with the Endeavour Demo 2 capsule 4 months later in August 2020. In the same month, they conducted their 100th launch, which is pretty impressive. Furthermore, they also celebrated the success of the 6th launch of the Falcon 9 booster. By November 2020, the crew of the Dragon launched 4 people to the ISS in its first ever fully operational mission. This also marks the first NASA-certified commercial human spacecraft. Isn't that cool? Wait till you hear about this. In 2021, SpaceX achieved, and rightly so, the NASA Moon contract. This blew off their biggest competitor, Blue Origin, despite the protests. To silence the noisy competitors, SpaceX launched a rocket, and it was the first launch of the Starship as the prototype transport for Moon and Mars. As for the plans for 2022, SpaceX plans to launch its first private and all-civilian orbital mission. And as 2022 comes to close, the company plans to send Starship in its maiden voyage. 2 years after, it's projected to send cargo to Mars for the 100 people that were initiated to conquer the Red Planet. Do you want to go to Mars? Have you joined the SpaceX ticket lottery from before? Let me know in the comments down below. You might even get to send us a message from Mars someday. Moving on, let's now discuss the SpaceX Headquarters. If you were to launch a venture on Mars, it's no surprise that your base here on Earth spans around 500,000 square feet in Hawthorne, California. However, recent disputes have moved the headquarters to Austin, Texas. This happened around April of this year when the local government of California rejected the company's work attempt during the ongoing pandemic. But there is still a lot to credit to the California base. It was initially the manufacturing site for the 747 aircraft, and it turned to where SpaceX builds 80% of their rockets. Then again, you wouldn't realize how massive this project is without seeing their own ecosystem. On the top of the list is the Mission Control Room. Now this area is something out of a movie. It feels surreal and it's basically highlighted during the different launches of the company. It features all the software and computer network which is necessary to communicate with the rockets being launched into space. Similarly, capsules would also need the guide from the control room, and just across this room is the area for inspections. This area is climate controlled since metals are known to expand and contract depending on the set temperatures. It is reported that a consistent 68 degrees would keep these metals stable. Additionally, in the precision control area, the temperature drops down. The tools here are inspected to the last speck of dust to make sure that everything is working. It is also accompanied by robots for optimum work utilization. Another area is the server room. The server room contains about 500 processors as well as fluid dynamics. It carries out finite analysis and acts as a storage for their solid 3D modeling. It feels like a world of its own with all these techie terms, but really, SpaceX just wants the best, and that best includes all the best servers in the world. Next on the list, one of the most impressive parts is the manufacturing facility. All parts found in the manufacturing area have already passed initial inspection, and now they're just waiting to be used and made into rockets. These materials are to be put together by highly trained engineers. It's not surprising that the SpaceX company has one of the best factories in the world. And did you know that their facility can build you a Starship within just 72 hours? Cool, right? Also, this area has its own shake room, which oversees the durability of the rockets. It has acoustic and vibrational loads that are comparable to when rockets are shot up into space. And since this would be the first part of the launch, you have to make sure that your rocket survives until then. And if they can make it through this room, then they could proceed to the next stage. However, according to the tech god Elon Musk, this part is where their stuff ends up breaking. But not to worry, the company has already proven its capacity. This is just to make sure of the quality of the product they produce. Next is the stress testing facility. The rockets are being placed into different environments to assess how they could perform within different associations. Additionally, the rockets aren't just made of different hardware. It also needs software. Software engineers carry out daily tests and run different AI simulations so that every possible outcome of the launch could be predicted and known. And as the rocket is set to launch, their employees watch as it goes into space. I mean, it's an epitome of fiery success in front of your screens, and everybody breathes a sigh of relief when it actually reaches the sky. To add, there's also an area with glass to allow viewers to get front row seats to the launch. But all of these wouldn't get anywhere without the brains of the operation. His office isn't that much special. He barely has an office at all. On a day-to-day basis, the tech god roams around the factory and talks to different employees. This allows him to oversee the operations as well as to get daily updates on the process of each facility. He sits on common areas with his laptop on hand and is known to eat during his meetings. In our next video, we'll be discussing more about the life of Elon Musk, so subscribe and heads up. Back to the topic. Musk greatly believes in transparency and openness, thus the lack of doors is explained by this. He believes that doors would only limit communication and that's not acceptable. However, their conference rooms actually have cool glass walls that turn opaque when meeting with investors and clients for privacy. This technology can actually be found in transparent Japanese restrooms and is still pretty cool no matter the use. But you must note that the current headquarters is now in the Texas facility. The California government imposes the highest income tax rates, and the Texas alternative would be a better option since the guy is actually the richest man in the world. It started with moving Tesla to Texas, and now SpaceX also transferred. The new Starship rocket is also being constructed, and it's safe to say that the new headquarters is now really Texas. According to Elon Musk, they still have to decide whether to communicate operations in California or maybe just move it elsewhere. And now the tour ends here. Today we've uncovered what's inside the SpaceX headquarters, and we also plan to give you tours on other popular headquarters. So subscribe to our channel and don't forget to hit that notification button so you won't miss a single upload. We've also uploaded other headquarter tours such as that of Apple, so you might want to check that out. That being said, this is Marketfly and I'll see you in the next video.